Yo, what is up guys? It is Samool back again with another Epic 7 video for you guys today. And today we're going to be talking all about Dizzy. So Dizzy is one of the 4 pullable Guilty Gear units that you can get from the banners right now. And her banner will actually expire about 20 hours, I'd like to say, after this video's release. And if you guys haven't already pulled for her already, I really recommend pulling for her, especially if you're newer to the game, because she is very strong in PvE, which we'll talk about more in depth in this video. She's also okay in PvP as well. So this video is going to be covering all her stat guidelines that you want, what sets you can run her on, where she's good in PvE, where she's good in PvP, the best artifacts, how much you have to invest into her in regards to awakenings and skill enhancing, and if you guys should be pulling for multiple copies of her for like a memory imprint and stuff like that. Before we get started with the video though guys, if you guys aren't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to get instant updates when I have videos like this released that cover new units or previous units that you guys might have just pulled. Also when I release should you pull videos for the new units that are coming out in the future and the new banners as well. So that being said, let's talk about Dizzy. So Dizzy is a very strong unit. So we're going to talk about her skills real quick and you'll kind of see how this ties in with her strengths in PvE and PvP. So her S3 is an AoE attack. This will always miss, but basically that means it will always inflict these debuffs no matter what. Basically you have the decreased speed debuff, decreased attack, and decreased hit chance. And it's a very powerful skill. As you can see, it's only a 4-turn cooldown. You can also soul burn this to get an extra turn. So this attack cannot get evaded. You'll still be able to land your debuffs. And these debuffs will cripple basically any damage dealing unit in the game. Speed down is really annoying because it'll take longer for you to cycle through these debuffs. And if you don't have enough speed on your units, you're actually going to be perma debuffed by Dizzy. Decreased attack and decreased hit chance. You guys probably already know why this is super annoying. If you guys have faced any units with these debuffs like Conquer Ilias, or even like what other units have blind, like RBS3, right? It's just super annoying to deal with. It really cripples your damage dealing capability. So really annoying skill. Her S2 is an AoE attack that will extend the durations of her debuffs by 1 turn and other debuffs except for stuns, and will also CR push. So this is very good because as you can see, you can push back CR even more and extend your debuff durations. Makes her a very annoying control / debuff unit. And also the CR push, yeah, like I said, is super annoying. And this is really good in PvE, which we'll talk about after I go over her skills, because you can extend durations of poisons, which makes her a very powerful Abyss unit. Next we have her S1. So her S1 is going to be an AoE attack that has a chance to stun for 25%. And you're going to see that the damage dealt increases on debuffed enemies. You don't have to worry about this too much. Dizzy's damage modifiers are really bad. You're just basically using this for her stun. She's basically purely a debuff unit. And this is really annoying because if you have her on Abyssal Crown, this is like a 50% chance on each unit almost. And all of her skills are AoE. So you always have a chance to stun, which makes her a very annoying unit. So yeah, as you can see, her kit really revolves around debuffing. She's not really a damage dealer, but she has a lot of debuffs, and these debuffs work on bosses as well. CR push can work as well, and the extended duration is really nice as well. And you have that stun on your S1, which is really annoying, especially in PvP. So there's one glaring weakness to Dizzy's kit, and you guys can probably already tell. If you look at her skills, she does not have a dispel or a strip. So in PvP especially, if you have immunity buff, you're basically good to go. If you want to run Dizzy in PvP, you kind of need a unit to strip, or you need to have her super slow on a counter build, which we'll talk about. So that being said, where is she good in PvE? PvE, she's very good in raid because of her debuffs. She makes bosses do a lot less damage. You can also use her in Wyvern as a debuffer, which I don't really recommend though because she doesn't know damage. You can also use her in general purpose adventure for episode 3 and episode 4 if you guys are struggling, which I know a lot of you guys are. Then you guys can use Dizzy there. She's a very good debuffing unit that will neuter bosses' damages, and you'll actually be able to cheese a lot of bosses with Dizzy there. And yeah, PvP, actually PvE, there's also one area of content that I didn't mention that is the main reason why you should pull for her. It is going to be Abyss. So Dizzy is super good in basically almost all the Abyss floors up to like 107. She's a very strong unit because she can debuff the boss, CR push the boss, and she can also extend duration of debuffs, which is very important because a lot of bosses, you're going to be poison cheesing with a unit known as Kiris, who's a 3-star Earth Ranger, or Spectre Tenebria, which you guys probably already know. And you cheese with them because poisons do percent damage of the target's max HP, 5% actually. And Abyss bosses have crazy high amounts of HP, like 500k plus. So what you do is you use those poison units, and then you just use Dizzy to extend the durations of the poisons, and you basically make a 30-minute boss fight into like a 5-minute boss fight or less just by using Dizzy plus Kiris. So I really recommend pulling for her because of that. We also have Abyss challenges coming out for people that have cleared floor 80. And if Dizzy is able to be used in some of those challenges, then you're going to pretty much always use her because she's such a good Abyss unit. So for that reason alone, like even late game players, if you don't have her, then you definitely want to pull her. If you're an early game player, then I recommend pulling for her for, you know, early game PvE and late game PvE as well. So yeah, that being said, that's pretty much where she's good in PvE, guys. Like I said, to summarize, extremely good in Abyss. She can also be very strong in Hell Raid, and then in Adventure, she'll help you out a lot as well. In PvP, she's definitely not as strong as she was when she first came out, just because, yeah, immunity buff is just going to counter her. There's a lot of cleansing in the game now. She also gets hard countered by anything that abuses the fact that she's all AoE, such as Rem. She can perma counter your team, basically, when Dizzy takes a turn. Bellion as well. You also have Violet, who will constantly counter the Dizzy, and you'll get hit over and over, because even when you S3, you're going to get hit, right? Because you do technically miss, and he technically evades as well. So really annoying to deal with. General Purges, right, can CR push his team over and over. You have Last Riding Crowd that will reset his S2, right? Just a lot of counters. So Dizzy, in a World Arena setting, you have to counter pick with her on like 5 and make sure she's in a good spot. And then you can basically guarantee that she gets banned. Or you can bring her into like Guild Wars or Arena if you have, you know, the right team comp and they have, you know, all the stars aligned. So in PvP, not that great anymore, but she's still definitely usable. And there's actually 2 builds that you can run on Dizzy. So first, let's talk about the sets that you can run on. So for PvE, you're definitely going to run her on a speed set, which you'll see I have, and then you can run either an effectiveness set or a broken set. It's really up to you. In PvP, you can also run her on a speed set, but most people run her on a counter set nowadays because she's not a really good opener because she doesn't have a strip or dispel, like I said. So most people will run her on like a counter build, on like super low speed, super tanky with high effectiveness, and then basically on Abyssal Crown, you just become a perma stun bot. And it becomes very good because you can also pair her with Jacko now. And then, you know, Jacko can give her the buff where she can, you know, counterattack even more. So it makes her very, very annoying. Higher effectiveness as well. So just a very strong unit. Just because of the fact that she has a, you know, high chance to stun, right? 50% with Abyssal Crown or S1's crazy in the fact that she's all AoE. But keep in mind, even though she's strong, right, in a vacuum setting, there are a lot of counters. So you have to be careful. For Artifact, guys, like I said, Abyssal Crown is really good. For PvE, though, you're going to want to run Ayla Violin, which is what I'm running my Dizzy on. Very strong. You can strip bosses with, you know, the Ayla Violin proc. Abyss bosses have a lot of buffs, right? A lot of Hell Raid bosses have buffs. You also have Adventure mode bosses that have buffs that are very, very annoying to deal with. So yeah, like I said, counter set for PvP. Speed set's okay as well. And in PvE, definitely you want to run speed set. The secondary set's up to you, right? Immunity is good. Effectiveness is good. It's up to you. But if you do run her on a speed set, especially if you're running her in PvE, which is what most people will do, then what you're going to want to do is you want to run her on about 220 plus speed. I recommend 80% effectiveness for Hell Clean, for Abyss floors, and for Adventure bosses. 65% is what hunts need. 80% is for like the harder bosses. And then the rest just goes into tankiness because she doesn't do damage. Honestly, the other stats don't matter besides speed and effectiveness. Just make sure she's tanky enough to survive, and you are good to go. PvP, like I said, if you're running her on a speed set, you want her to be at like 250 speed, 260 speed. You do want her to go right after an opener so she can get her debuffs up. On a counter set, you want to make her super tanky with, you know, not 0 speed because you do want her to take turns, so probably about like 160 speed, I'd say. But you still want her to make sure that her effectiveness is still up. Even like 200 speed's fine as well on counter set. Just make sure she's tanky enough to survive. Otherwise, she will die really quickly because, yeah, she's a mage, she's not a knight, she's very squishy. So yeah, that being said, that's pretty much where she's good. Or not where she's good, how you want to build her for both PvE and PvP. Now let's talk about what you want to invest into her based off of skill enhancements, memory imprints, and awakenings. So for memory imprints, really easy, not worth it. Her self imprint's very useless. It's attack percent, and team attack percent's like okay, but it's definitely not worth, you know, wailing for at all. For awakenings, you'll see that I have her at 5-star awakening. It's because on the current build I have her on, she's actually at 80% effectiveness, so I don't need any more, and I don't use her in PvP. But if you do plan to use her on PvP, you definitely want this last potential stone because the last potential stone is effectiveness, which is her best stat basically. And then for Molagora, guys, I don't recommend investing too heavily into her because she, like I said, she's not a damage dealer, so her S1's completely useless. It won't, like, the damage increase won't matter at all. It won't make a difference in like 99.99% of the games if you win or lose. For her S2, you just get a skill cooldown because damage doesn't matter. S3, same thing, damage doesn't matter, so skill cooldown. So you only need to +3 your S2 and S3, and you are pretty much good to go. Pretty low investment unit. You only need to invest 6 Molagoras into her for her to be fully effective. So that being said, that's pretty much how you want to invest into your Dizzy, guys, and when you want to use her. Just to clarify, like, she's super good in Abyss, guys. I definitely recommend pulling for her. Even if you don't want to use it in PvP, she's a crazy strong unit, and there is a chance, whether it be next year or the year after, the Guilty Gear collab doesn't come back. So you want to make sure that you can pull for her if you can. I know this is like a little bit late because her banner does go away soon, but if you guys do have the chance to pull for her and you haven't already, I definitely recommend it. And if you guys already have her, which most of you guys probably do, then this is how I recommend building her and using her, and where you guys should be using her in general. That being said, guys, I hope that this video helped you out, guys. If you guys do want to see more of these hero reviews that talk about the stats and where they're good in, then make sure you guys leave a like and also comment down below that you guys want more of these videos, and I'll be releasing more of these kinds of videos in the future more frequently. That being said, I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.